We need to remember there are so many people that do not trust Kier Starmer from the beginning, before he even got elected Prime Minister, from the time he got elected leader of the Labour Party, and kind of rolled back on every single promise he had made in the leadership campaign. Buongiorno freaks and geeks, welcome back to the channel. And ding dong, the witch is dead. But not the witch we wish was dead. It's only his right hand man, unfortunately. So if you don't already know, Morgan McSweeney, the architect of Starmerism, has decided to resign because, you know, all that icky stuff came out about Peter Mandelson. Personally, I wish he resigned earlier, if for nothing else, that he was the architect of Kier Starmer pretending to be a socialist to capture the Labour Party members who were full Corbynites at the time. Then once he got elected, he expelled them all and tried to remake the Labour Party in his image. Morgan McSweeney was the puppet master when it came to that. And to be honest, not a very good puppet master, because Sir Keir Starmer still comes across as a massive robot. So it'll be interesting to see how Kier acts or reacts in public now that the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the machine, is no longer there. I use a metaphor, but I called them many things in that same metaphor. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say. So let's dive into this video from Channel 4. It's a short interview with a particular voice within the current Labour Party. Before I press play, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell me down below, when do you think Kier Starmer will finally be dislodged from number 10 Downing Street?
Well, the writer and broadcaster Sonia Sodha was a senior advisor to Ed Miliband when he was leader of the opposition, and she joins me now. Natalie Fleet there, a Labour MP, says as a survivor of abuse herself, she wants Kier Starmer to stay. Are there enough others who agree, do you think?
So just to provide some context, as has already been mentioned, this is the former advisor to Ed Miliband, a interesting character within the legacy of the Labour Party. I'm not sure what his brief is right now. I believe he's still within the cabinet, but let's not forget, Ed Miliband was the leader of the Labour Party from about 2010 until 2015. He rode in on a wave of rejecting the Labour Party's role within the invasion of Iraq, maybe Afghanistan as well, but definitely Iraq, which led to a massive split with his brother, David Miliband. Both Milibands are the son of a very, very left-wing Jewish man by the name of Ralph Miliband, the same Ralph Miliband which was demonized and basically scapegoated and witch hunted after he had died by the Daily Mail. And the one person who came out in support of Ralph Miliband was Jeremy Corbyn himself, even going on BBC to defend the late Ralph Miliband. And how did Ed Miliband repay Jeremy Corbyn? By teaming up with the worst individual ever, Kier Starmer. It's so crazy how fast life comes at you. So just before this particular interview, there was a conversation with an actual Labour MP who, as it was stated, was a victim, and for some reason is also a supporter of Kier Starmer and believes he has some very good ideas that he is yet to implement. Are you sure? Okay, I'm yet to see it, and who am I to question a sitting MP? With that in mind, this is the following interview with someone who may not be on the side of Kier Starmer.
Well, I think if you speak to Labour MPs off the record, behind the scenes, there's huge anger at Kier Starmer.
Again, everything needs to be off the record with these Labour MPs, cowards. absolute cowards. I said it in the previous video, I'll say it in this video. You people are cowards. What's the point of being angry in the darkness? Are you not elected by your constituents to be a open voice for them, not a voice that whispers in the night?
And the judgment call that he made to appoint Peter Mandelson. And that's not something that Morgan McSweeney going will completely dissipate. It might buy Kier Starmer a bit of time, perhaps, on the backbenches, but the fundamentals haven't changed. And it comes back down to the fact that, yes, Morgan McSweeney has said he gave Kier Starmer this advice to appoint Peter Mandelson. He takes responsibility for it.
Who cares if he takes responsibility? Is Kier Starmer not still an adult and the most powerful person in the United Kingdom? You can't just blame everything on your advisors. You still actually had to implement the advice. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we treating Kier Starmer like, why is anyone treating Kier Starmer like an infant? If you truly believe that Morgan McSweeney was that influential over Kier Starmer, that anything that was suggested Kier Starmer implemented, then you are probably, unbeknownst to yourself, telling me that Kier Starmer wasn't the Prime Minister. What are we doing here?
But at the end of the day, it is the decision of the Prime Minister. It's a Prime Minister who makes a decision.
That's a good point.
I think a lot of MPs watch Kier Starmer make speeches, answer Prime Minister's questions last week saying, I'm just as angry as the rest of you, I've been lied to too, sort of portraying himself as a victim. And it didn't really wash with the backbenchers. And I'm afraid I just don't think that Morgan McSweeney's resignation changes that.
And in some ways, it seems to have actually added pressure in the last couple of hours. Obviously, you know, the opposition parties have been piling in, but Labour MPs too, making exactly that point that the buck has to stop with Kier Starmer.
Also, we saw this before with the more upfront Tories in the form of Boris Johnson. I mean, golly. I mean, Boris Johnson really lied his arse off, but he can't even hold a candle to Kier Starmer. So after Boris Johnson's goblin under the bridge finally resigned after all the despicable things he did, it wasn't long before Boris Johnson followed him out of number 10 Downing Street. And I do predict that will happen with Sir Keir Rodney Starmer.
Yeah, and I think it's a reasonable perspective. The buck does stop with the Prime Minister. I think there was a lot riding on how the Prime Minister decided to respond to these revelations that came out. He says he was lied to. He says he didn't know. But the fact of the matter is that thanks to the reporting of the Financial Times, we do know that it was in the public domain. We know it was in intelligence that went to number 10, that there was a JP Morgan due diligence report that number 10 were aware of that established that there was a close personal friendship between Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein. So that is something that it's very hard to toss aside. And, you know, I take really seriously what Natalie Fleet was saying. She's a victim of sexual violence herself. She says she trusts the Prime Minister. But I also think there are lots of people who are victims who don't necessarily trust the Prime Minister.
Hallelujah.
I would have said that as well if I had watched Natalie's interaction with Channel 4 on this recording, but I'm glad that someone has said it. We need to remember there are so many people that do not trust Kier Starmer from the beginning, before he even got elected Prime Minister, from the time he got elected leader of the Labour Party and kind of rolled back on every single promise he had made in the leadership campaign. I mean, this is a man who was happy to watch women and girls being blown apart in Palestine. And his only response was, Israel has a right to defend herself. As if feminizing the brutal, rogue terrorist state of Israel will be enough to wash it of all of its crimes and the blood it has spilt. I mean, come on. Let's be sensible here.
He did choose to elevate his former comms advisor to the House of Lords. even though that advisor went and campaigned for somebody who had been charged with serious child sex offences, later was convicted, that person still got into House of Lords. Obviously not the person who's been charged with those offences, but somebody who went and campaigned for them, Matthew Doyle.
That's gross.
Guys, I think Kier Starmer has an unhealthy allegiance to nonce enablers. What do you mean you campaigned on behalf of someone who was eventually, even if they have allegations, what is happening where people are openly befriending sick nonces in daylight? I mean, not even under the cover of darkness. You're doing this in daylight. Have I lost my mind or something? I just don't understand it.
He said he wasn't, that his friend was protesting his innocence at the time, but it was somebody who was charged. I think that shows really questionable judgment around.
Very briefly, I mean, obviously, Sonia, we don't have Matthew Doyle here to speak for himself.
Why does that matter?
But really critically, the loss of Morgan McSweeney, which is clearly huge to Sir Kier Starmer, if there are any more revelations in the paperwork released, there's now no one between Starmer and the door.
Yes. And the quicker that happens, the more happy I will be, to the point I might even eject myself out of my house because of the excitement being felt.
This is a sick Negro.
Also, you're trying to tell me you don't have someone that could replace Morgan McSweeney. What is it that we currently live in a world where people believe only one person can do certain jobs? Unless it's the case that Kier Starmer actually fell in love with Morgan McSweeney and doesn't believe he would ever find a love like that again. If that isn't the case, then it should be easy to find someone to be your chief of staff. I mean, we're an island of 70, 80 million people. There must be someone out there. And if you are feeling a bit hesitant, you can even widen it to the island of Ireland again, if you really want to. But there's someone that could replace him. Not that I do want anyone to replace Morgan McSweeney. I want Kier Starmer gone. I'm just saying, like, this whole attitude that Morgan McSweeney is the only one that can work with Kier Starmer, the only one that can defend him from allegations, is just absolutely ridiculous.
No, there isn't. But honestly, I don't think it matters whether there are further revelations or not. I think Kier Starmer's fate is kind of sealed. I don't think he's going to be leading Labour into the next election. I think that was probably already true before the weekend of revelations. That doesn't mean that he will go in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It might take longer, but I think his fate is sealed when it comes to the next general election.
Sonia, thank you. Sorry to cut across. You're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much.
So we'll stop it there. They roll into another interview. We don't really need to go into that just now. There's going to be so many more juicy interviews to come out over the next few weeks. I really do hope it takes shorter than 3 weeks for Kier Starmer to go. I actually want him to be gone before the local elections in May. If that is not the case, he will definitely be gone after the local elections, because he is going to take a drumming and he won't have the shoulder of Morgan McSweeney to cry on once that does happen, to my delight. Anyway, tell me what you thought down below. Is this as exciting to you as it is to me? Do you think Kier Starmer will last beyond September 2026? And who should be the replacement for Kier Starmer? We already know that Kier Starmer blocked Andy Burnham, the mayor of Greater Manchester, or Manchester, I don't know which one it is, from becoming a MP in the next by-election. So he won't be able to replace him. But do you see anyone else, or do you accept my suggestion from the last video that a trifle with 4 layers would be not even just as good, but even better than what we're getting from the robotic, personalityless, no charisma, no spark Kier Starmer. Yeah, let me down below. Let me down below. Let me down below.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
And if you're into audiobooks, I have a link to my latest audiobook down below. I didn't write it, but I voiced it, and it's all around women spotting red flags early in heterosexual relationships. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I don't know when I'll see you again. I think I've put in too much work this month already. Maybe the tail end of February, if something big happens with Kier Starmer, maybe even earlier, but I'm going to take the week of love to myself for a bit of self-love, and I hope you take the time as well. With that being said, please do take care of yourself, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Okay, ciao.
What I do when you're gone? What I do when you're gone, baby? Baby, you're gone away.